For many, that's the vast majority, or all of us here, our practice of meditation day by day is the most practical means that we have to grow in compassion and in generous service of causes such as the cause of Tibet. And I think we would all be inspired and enriched if you could give us encouragement and advice on how to remain steady in the path of meditation each day. Many people find it very difficult, of course, to meditate living in cities and with the problems of modern life, and yet this is why the community of Christian meditation has grown up as a support for that. But it is a great difficulty very often for people not living in monasteries, and sometimes for people living in monasteries, to meditate. So could you give us some encouragement and some insight into what we need to develop in order to persevere and to deepen our meditation each day?
If the person, unless it is the case that the individual has no deep interest in growing spiritually, otherwise, so long as the individual really has a really deep interest in spiritual growth, then one cannot do away with meditation and practice. That is the key.
Mm-hmm. Just a mere prayer or wish will not
affect changes.
Effect this change. So it's a constant and a constant effort through meditation. That's the only way for further development. So of course at the beginning, naturally, not easy. You may find the difficulties and also sometimes the less enthusiasm at the beginning, very much enthusiasm, then 1 week, 2 weeks, few months, then that enthusiasm may go down. But we need, you see, the constant thinking about the value and the long-term value.
What are the principal means of helping us to keep going when we get discouraged?
Of
course, one should constantly reflect upon and actually weighing the pros and cons of meditating and not meditating, the benefits, the value, and the effectiveness of meditation on the one hand, and the negative effects of not meditating and not pursuing one's meditation, and so on the other, and constantly weighing these two sides, and through that way one can maintain the sort of enthusiasm. We can say that out of just over 5 billion humanity on this planet, we could, broadly speaking, divide humanity into 3 categories. One who is a believer and a practitioner, and another category which is not only a non-believer but also anti-religion, and then there could be a third category, which is a group of people who need not necessarily be a religious practitioner, yet at the same time has no particular sort of antagonism towards religion, so sort of are in a state of mere indifference.
숨자로 동행면대보다 대화되어.
All three of these categories are equal in having the natural instinct and desire to be happy and to overcome suffering and to avoid suffering.
다 최를 당용상의 파샤. 다 최를 먹을 증가지다. 최 예배니부터 독스 둘이는 수집을 마음도. 수집 뭐이부터 마음도. 다또 둘이는.
So a practitioner or a believer should compare, if necessary, if they need a point of contrast. It is not the third group, that is the people who are indifferent, that they should contrast themselves with. Rather, it is the second category, the people who are anti-religious, who not only do not believe but think religion is irrelevant and false and so on. So you should compare your life with those in the second category, and see whose life reflects more sense of contentment.
Contentment, no. Sorry. I mean, sorry. In certain aspect, of course, those people who have no hesitation to do everything in order to achieve their goal. But so therefore, in some cases they may appears more successful. But so long run, the peace of mind. If we think, I think in that group, I think it's too much suspicion. Because each one always is cheating, dishonest, right? No honest. And also whenever when a certain situation happen, they have no hesitation to eliminate one another, isn't it? Look at the former Soviet Union, the leaders of Soviet Union, and China. So when we make comparison, of course both want be happy person, but one adopt a method. Certain method. According to that method, they feel religion is poison. The other of course, with the desire of seeking happiness, and adopt religion as a method. That those two things are 가르치니. 저 예배를 지금은 좀 가가다. 저 말을 그냥 좀 가가다. 저 뭐면 지금 가르치는 셈된 느낌이야.
So when you compare the two categories, of course here we are talking about not just someone who claims to believe and claims to practice, but religion does not play an important role in that person's life. We are talking about true practitioners. In such cases, we will definitely find that the life of the true practitioner reflects greater happiness, tranquility, and peace. And even in society, I'm sure these people will be accorded greater sort of trust by other people and respects. So when you think along such terms, then you see that if possible, to be able to practice religion and some form of spirituality is in fact more ideal.
That is example socially. And then you churang twan to samda, so samlin da the nyamnole to chene share da, so nyamnuni to turgi chana, kadusna conviction jidigwa.
So thinking along these lines will help you.
The base of share.
This is like sort of a point of comparison that you make with others, and to strengthen in your conviction. And also what is helpful is to occasionally compare your own experiences with scriptures, what the scripture says and what you experience, and make a comparison and where you are. And through that way, gradually and slowly, you'll be able to really strengthen your
eventually you can see the deeper value of spirituality. The more that conviction there, then the desire of kasoda, that
then the greater the conviction, then the greater enthusiasm that you will have, and also the greater the force of sort of moving forward.
The Mingmu Songyasurda, Mipen, politicians to take when politicians that chick to ya the chick. But lecture election could call it shifting door. That moves on to take a pen, moves on call it shifting door. Not to choose the Shabbat eating as a gold to the Yorba, not to call it take door. When I said Nanzu gold, the chair, call it Jevin Shorts. That comes to the call it Jevin, Jevin never searched the ship's call it.
Although
to call it, but
although this is the case, this should be the case, but in the real world, as it were, we see quite the opposite.
Opposite is
Sorry. We see, for example, like business people who's.
I mean, it's basically, as a human. You see, human being, you see, there is such a sort of nature. If you see you want something, really, you see, you feel, oh, I want that, I want this, I want that. Then,
so if you have a very forceful desire, a wish to obtain something, and if you want it badly, then of course your commitment, your action for obtaining it will be much more forceful. For example, like in the case of politicians who are sort of determined, in getting elected, then they give almost everything in achieving that goal. They set out on their campaigns, trail one place after another place, and even during the campaign, you can see them visibly age. So such is
similarly the businessman.
Such is the dedication. We see similar dedication amongst some business people whose sole aim is making money and profit, and when they want it so badly, then they just give everything to obtain that goal. And this should be the case for a spiritual practitioner as well. But somehow we don't seem to find a spiritual practitioner who is that dedicated in attaining the goal. So my point is that the clearer that you see the goal that you are aspiring to, and the greater your commitment to attaining that goal, of course, the greater your motivation will be on the path.
Okay. Then one thing, right from the beginning, it is very important to have the view that spiritual development is not easy. Take time. So, right from the beginning, if there is too much expectation, they expect some remarkable sort of some transformation within a short period. That is the sign of collapse. So mentally must prepare. Or it takes time.
Can you tell us how long?
Now here, Buddhism
Now, to give a Buddhist reply to your question, we will be speaking in terms of a time scale of innumerable eons.
That really is when you think more about eons, then you see on such person, to such person, the years, month is nothing. In life, nothing, just 100 years. So when you count, you see eons, then that really helps to develop determination. But this is not your business. This is not your business. your of course, certainly, so your goal can achieve within your lifetime. There's no doubt. Marveya. Yung tuhash marveta. Sechigla. Ka.